Hey there, I'm Medusa. Welcome to Attic Vision. Today we'll be talking about Necromancer as well as Slugs. So many slugs. So first up we have Necromancer. Necromancer was put out by Forum Home Video in 1988. Necromancer starts by introducing us to Lisa, who's a witch gypsy type. We later find out she's a necromancer, who promptly offs one of her clients for asking her to remove a curse. And then we are introduced to our leading lady, Julie, who is on campus after hours finishing up some work when some skeezy dudes break in to try to get some test scores. They bump into one another, and they proceed to assault and rape her. One of Julie's friends then proceeds to take her to meet Lisa, the necromancer. There's a crazy garage demon summoning scene. And then Julie may or may not be turning into a demon and killing all of those who have wronged her. Julie is played by the incredibly charming Scream Queen Elizabeth Catan. She's also in Friday the 13th Part 7, which is my personal favorite, as well as Savage Dawn from 1985, Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 in 1987, and Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity from 1987 as well. The list goes on and on. A funny thing about her is she was actually the girl on the front cover of the Splatter University poster, but she's not in Splatter University. Necromancer was filmed over an 8-week period in California, directed by a guy named Dusty Nelson. Dusty Nelson didn't really do much else. He did a movie called Effects in 1980, Sakura Killers in 1987, which is a pretty good watch, and an episode of Tales from the Dark Side. Those are about the most notable things. Necromancer was a pretty fun ride. There was some gnarly dick ripping, some doppelganger fighting, Ernest the Nerd, some ridiculous lightning 80s effects, which I always appreciate, and some gooey special effects. Next, I want to talk about Slugs. All the Slugs. Slugs the movie was released in 1988 by New World Video. Slugs the book preceded it, being released in 1982. The movie is based on the book. Slugs is written by Sean Hudson. The movie was directed by J.P. Simon. Some of you may be familiar with Mr. Simon because he also directed the infamous Pieces. He also did a movie called The Rift in 1990, which is super awesome. He's kind of known for his no-care attitude and his use of special effects. The lead role of Mike Brady in Slugs 1988 is played by a guy named Michael Garfield. He wasn't in too many other things. He is actually credited for being a rogue in The Warriors. I rewatched The Warriors to try to pick him out, actually, and I couldn't. Of course, the movie being based on the book, it's very similar. A lot of the dialogue is taken directly from the book and put into the movie. A lot of the scenes follow what happens in the book. They're actually very similar. There's not a lot of exaggeration going on, which I find to be kind of rare when you have a novel and then a crazy 80s horror movie based on it. There are some pretty notable differences in it as well. The novel is written very smart. Mike Brady is a super likable and intelligent character in the book. I can't say that he's that likable in the movie. And, well, if you've seen Slugs, you know it's not the brightest, albeit a blast. Infamous salad next day restaurant scene.
Oh my God!
It's just as graphic in the book as it is in the movie, if not even better. It's explained thoroughly, and his symptoms are made pretty clear. The worm exploding out of the eyes is in both. And then the whole sex scene falling into the floor of Slugs scene. It's a lot different in the book. It might even be more effective, even though it is super cool in the movie. The novel Slugs is just as entertaining, just as brutal, and just as crazy as the movie is. The book is just insane, with the exception of so much gardening. There's so much gardening. One of the most notable differences for me, and something that I really wish they could have incorporated into the movie because it's one of my favorite scenes in the book, is with a little girl and her mother. They put a lot of emphasis in the book on the slime trails being poisonous and that being a whole thing. Anyway, this scene with this little girl is super brutal. There's mouth bleeding, rabies type of material. The very end is also different. The ending of the book is way more satisfying and fitting to the story as a whole than the very end of the movie. If you've seen the movie, you know that the last few frames are less than exciting. But the book is amazing. The movie is amazing. Necromancer is amazing. If you guys have the opportunity to see either of these movies or to read Slugs, I definitely recommend all three. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that red subscribe button. I'll actually be doing a giveaway either episode 3 or 4, so the next episode or the one after, and unless you're subscribed, you're not eligible. Let me know what you think of these titles and any titles you want me to feature in later episodes in the comments. And follow me on Instagram for updates and more pictures of my collection. It's linked in the show notes below. You've just watched Attic Vision. I'm Medusa.